Alright, so I've got mine. I'm going to do an example of house number 1, or at least part of the house, and then we'll go to SketchUp, or on Moodle, SketchUp, and where it says Industrial Technology House is the assignment you're going to be working on. You've now completed quite a few assignments with SketchUp, everything from letters and your name to warehouse to the following the house tutorial and designing chairs. So, open up Google SketchUp by going to Start, and you can find it in your All Programs, or there might be a shortcut on your desktop. Go ahead and click Start using SketchUp. Alright, a big part of this project is keeping things to scale and keeping the house to scale. We're going to concentrate on doing the house and the exterior of the house. If you want to go back and add more detail and appliances, you are more than welcome to do that. So, first of all, we're going to do it one room at a time, very similar to how you did it downstairs. We're going to, for example, start with a room and move adjacent throughout the house. So I'm going to do house number 1, and I'm going to orbit my house so that I'm looking directly down on the property that is given to me. I'm going to start right here where I think we'll call her Nancy, and I'm going to delete Nancy by using the select, click on her so she turns blue, and hitting the delete key. And now I'm going to draw a bunch of rectangles for the sides of my house. So first I'm going to start with the master suite that's found on the bottom left of my house, starting on the bottom left of my drawing on SketchUp. Click and drag out. Now, as I drag out, I'm going to type in my measurements for my house, and it is 17 feet. So I'll type 17 and then feet by the one quote, comma, space bar, 13 feet, and hit enter, and you can see the shape of my room right there. I'm then going to draw the bathroom right above that. Okay. And my estimation for that room be 7 feet, comma, space bar, 10 feet. Okay, and as you can see, my bathroom that I drew should be more vertical than horizontal. So I'm going to undo that and then flip the numbers around. Instead of 7 by 10, I'll do 10 by 7. So I'm going to hit Control Z to erase it. Draw it again, 10 feet, comma, spacebar, 7 feet. And that looks a little better. Alright. So I'm going to go through my house and concentrate on all my measurements. One good thing you can use here is the orbit tool to look more down on the house, and you can also use the tape measure tool on the top of your button row. If I click that, I can not only click and drag down and find my measurements. All measurements are found down here on the bottom right, but also I can make markers for myself. So if I want to start out a room, I'm going to do my closet next. I'm going to start at 3 feet down from the top. So I'm going to just type 3 feet. And you can barely see, if you're on your computer, you can see a little better. There's a little tiny dot right there that represents 3 feet down from this top corner. It also makes it real easy for your guide points and to start corners of rooms. So I clicked on that point I just drew, I'm dragging out, and then I'm noticing down here my numbers are changing, so I'm going to want to make that 7 feet, comma, and I'll make it 6 feet wide. Alright. The next bathroom going to be, I'm going to make it 8 feet wide, comma, oops, feet by 7, and those should line up. A good way to make sure they line up is using my tape measure tool, starting here and drawing over, call it 8 feet, and now you can see my dots right there, which makes it really easy to connect the points. So if I start on this corner and I go to my next opposite corner, click, I've got the room I was planning on. Alright, I'm going to work on a little bit of this house and come right back as you work on yours. So now we got something that looks like our floor plan, similar to our drawing. If you want to add a few details, for example, if this is my dining room and I wanted to make those windows into like bay windows that are angled, I can simply zoom in. The tighter you get on an object, the easier it is to do more detail. So I'll click on it and just kind of angle my windows there, take my eraser and erase those corners of lines. Let me zoom out so I get to see everything I have. Alright, so like I said, we want to concentrate on the exterior. It's all about keeping it to scale. So if I were to take my tape measure and measure across, okay, it'll tell me that my garage is 20 feet. It'll tell me up there, and it'll also tell me down here. And when I go and check your houses, a big part of this project is keeping it to scale. So that looks good. Alright, if any time you click a wrong button or make a mistake, Control-Z is the shortcut for edit undo and will be your best friend. Alright, now I'm going to make it possible to just raise the house all at the same time. So I'm going to get rid of some of the doors. So I'm going to use my eraser, or I'm going to get rid of some of my walls. Use my eraser so I can pull up the exterior all at the same time. So I'm going to make it possible and erase a lot of the walls. Okay, we're not really worried about doors and walls today. Now, if ever your house goes from this blue to white or clear, one of your lines somewhere is not connected when you drew your different houses, and you'll have to go back and check and find out which one you have. Sometimes you can do that by zooming in to some points and using your pencil to connect those lines that were not there. So now that we've got the house all drawn, we've got the walls, we've got everything in one solid color, we're now going to make it three-dimensional. So you can see I've got it flat. I orbit it around. I'm going to use my push-pull tool, and I'm going to lift the house up, and I'm going to lift it 10 feet. So I'm going to just start lifting and type in 10 feet. It'll tell you right there as you're typing. Go ahead and hit enter, and you saw I just jumped a little bit. So I'm at 10 feet. Now I'm going to use my rectangle, and I'm going to draw some of the doors. So if my front door goes here, alright, I'm going to draw my front door as 3 feet, comma, and then 7 feet. We're going to do just rough estimations. And if I want to add detail to it, I can zoom in again. Zooming in will make detail a little bit easier. Make a doorknob with a circle. Pull it forward a little bit. Maybe I'll make some windows. Push that back a tiny bit. I'll double click it so it's all blue, hit Control C and Control V so I have it identical. Push those in just a little bit. Oops, gotta use the push-pull. Use the select to select it, use the push-pull to push back a tiny bit. And I'm going to make it glass, so I'm going to use my paint bucket, go to translucent, and then pick my favorite shade of glass. Use my translucent, go to maybe wood. I'll have a nice wood door. And make my door handle some type of metallic on my doorknob. And then I'll zoom out and I've got my front door. Do that with all doors and windows. For windows, do it very similar. I'll draw a window 5 feet tall by 3 feet. And again, I can add detail to it. By simply drawing some lines across. Hold on a sec. Apparently that was just a few students that didn't realize there was a door there and they couldn't walk through it. Okay, so drew a couple lines for the windows. You know, you can make it as decorative as you'd like. And then I can just select one square. If I want to do all the same thing, hit click on it with the select tool, hold the control key on the keyboard, and then click all the other squares to make this possible. Go to the paint bucket, make it translucent, and there you go. Alright, to make to do the same window, instead of drawing the same thing multiple times, if you're going to use the same shape and size, use the select tool, highlight everything on there. Oh, alright, let's try this. Use the select tool, highlight everything, Control C, and then Control V will paste. I'll put one there, and I'll rotate the house around a little, and I'll use my select tool, put one maybe there. Oh, okay. Well, we had a problem there because when I originally selected this window, somehow it selected the stuff inside the window, and we don't want that. So I'm going to start over with my first window. Highlight everything on there. Control C, Control V to paste. And I think that worked out a little better. You can see I don't have anything else selected. Alright, so I'm going to swing it on around, add windows where I like. of course you can add your windows according to your drawing, but also where you would like. It'll look similar, but it doesn't have to look the exact same. Alright, next thing I want to talk to you about is putting color on the house. So I'll go to my paint bucket and go to, let's make it brick. So I'm looking for stone, and make it any type of brick, and then you'll have to do one wall at a time, orbit it around. You know what, honestly I don't really like that brick because it clashes with my wood, so maybe I'll just do a color. What other stones do I have to choose from? Make a limestone house. Oh well. I'll keep it for now, but know that I don't like that color. Okay. Here we go. So, for the roof. Sometimes this is tricky. I'm going to draw a box, rectangle over my house. There. I'm going to erase some of these lines. Oh darn it, I didn't want to do that. And I'm going to lift it all up. By using the select all the areas, hitting control. That I want to lift. Oh darn it. Okay, use my select. Click, hold control. Click there, click there, click there. Holding my control. Fart. Okay. Let's do it once at a time. Alright, so I'm going to do this part first. I'm going to lift this up about 5 feet. I'm going to then start adding a slope or a pitch to it. So I'm going to use my pencil. And I want my roof to be at 10 feet. So I have a little marker there with my tape measure. Use my pencil. Draw it up to the midpoint. Draw from the midpoint down, and then I'm going to push and pull this back. This is the tricky part. Getting these to disappear. Push, pull. That offsets with that. That looks good. Use my eraser to erase those lines. Okay, so I've got my garage all done. Now I'm going to try and use my push-pull to push this part back. And I'm going to lift this part of the roof so it's even with that part. Lift this part so it's even with this part. Alright. Rotate it around. You know what? I don't need that like that. Okay, again, gonna make my tape measure, use my tape measure, go up 10 feet, type it in 10 feet, enter, and it makes my little mark. So I can draw my pencil, use that where it says on the dot where it says endpoint, find my midpoint. I can find my midpoint by just kind of going up to my line where it says on edge, going over to the left until a blue line pops up and says midpoint. Clicking again on the midpoint, going down on the left side, and then I'm not clicking on anything, I'm just waiting for that dotted green line to pop up. Alright, I'm going to orbit up so I can see it and push this back as far as possible, push this back as far as possible. Push those out of the way. Okay. Take my eraser tool, let's see if some of these erase. Good. So push, pull, push this back. Alright. Now this is where I'll have to kind of do my own kind of detail to it. You guys will have to figure this out on your own. Sometimes you'll have to draw some lines and push those back. Sometimes you can push and offset parts of the house. You could also use your pencil, maybe even draw lines to connect, and use a move tool to pull it all towards the one spot. Let's see if I can erase some of these lines. I'm going to use my move tool, grab my corner, pull it back. Whoop, that's not what I want. Move tool, pull it back to this point, orbit around so I can see. Alright. Whoa, 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 it's coming through the house. Try a different way. Okay. I gotta touch this up a little bit. Alright. Reason being is not sometimes I just have to go way back, edit, undo a bunch of times. Alright. So now if I use my pencil, draw some points. Yowzer. Okay, I'm going to play with this and get back to you. I would suggest when you come to a frustrating part, for example, I'm having problems getting my roof done, simply move on to something else. So I'm going to paint the roof. I'm going to go to roofing with my paint bucket, pick something I like, okay, rotate it around. You can see I haven't finished doing my house yet either. Paint the outside of the house. Alright. I found that a lot of times if you erase some unnecessary lines, Then you can use your push-pull and push it back a little bit more. If I can erase some lines, maybe use my move tool. Bring it back. Okay, you can see there's a little tiny bit there, so I'm trying to erase that. Good, no problems. Oh, that's the bell. I'll be right back.